The time is now to raise your class prices. Hi, this is John Sanpetro, and on this episode of the Stamping is My Business podcast, I'm going to give you 5 fantastic reasons why you should raise your class prices. Look, classes both in person and online really should be one of the biggest profit centers in your business. Unfortunately, that's often not the case because stamping business owners charge way too little for their classes. Well, I'm here to tell you that it is time to raise your class prices. And not only am I going to tell you it's time, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why it's time. Number 1, raising your class prices means more profits. As I said, classes should be the biggest profit center in your business. And the truth is that when you lower your class prices, you're really not aligning yourself with the way your business is structured. There are very few companies who can really sustain that low price, high volume model. And you absolutely cannot. You don't have the profit margin built into your product to sustain that model. In other words, your stamping supplies, the supplies that you use for your classes, are expensive. They, in some cases, are really expensive. So when you drop the cost of your classes, unfortunately, your supply costs don't change. And so where does that money you're dropping come from? Where do you take that money away from? You take it away from your profits. When you drop your class prices, basically, you are killing your profits. So when you raise your class prices, first and foremost, you are going to generate more profits for your classes. And when you do that, that leads us into reason number 2, why you should raise your class prices. Because when you raise your class prices, you need fewer people registering for your classes to reach your goals. Very simply, when you sell something for, say, twice as much, you only need half the number of customers to make the same amount of money. And in fact, you don't even need that many because your supply costs are going to drop by more than half. So wouldn't it be easier to get, say, 5 people into a class than it is to get, say, 10 people into a class? And if you're making the same amount of money with the 5 people as you were with the 10 people, that makes your life a lot easier. And that's the other benefit. When you have fewer customers that you need to reach your goals, it also means you're going to be spending less time supporting those customers. And as we move into reason number 3, why you should raise your class prices, what you're going to find is customers who pay more generally need less. It is a weird thing, but it is an absolute truth in business and in life that the less you pay for something, the more you expect. The less you pay for something, the more you complain. And I know that you have absolutely seen this in your business. I know that you've seen this with your customers. You all have customers who spend very, very little money with you, but seem to complain the most, seem to require the most support, seem to be the biggest pains, honestly, in your business. You all have those people. You all probably have downline who kind of fit that bill as well. You all have downline who really aren't doing that much in their own stamping businesses, but they have incredibly high, unreasonable expectations of what you should be doing for them. And that's just the way it is. You know, it's a psychological thing, but it's your fault in a way. Because when you are charging a lower price point, you're attracting a different audience than when you charge a higher price point. When you charge a lower price point, you're basically attracting what we call a quantity-based audience. And a quantity-based audience, all they care about is how much they're getting for the lowest possible price. At a higher price point, you're attracting what we call a quality-based audience. at a higher price point for that audience, it's not about the volume, okay? It's about the content's value. And when they perceive value, they don't care how much they're getting. They just care about the value. And they're willing to pay a lot more for that value. Quality-based audiences place a priority on what you're teaching them. Quantity-based audience place a value on how much you're giving them. And with the quantity-based audiences, they have no loyalty to you either, because their loyalty is to how much you're giving them. And so very quickly, they will leave you if they find someone else who is going to give them more. That's the problem when you charge a lower price point. You attract that type of customer, and that type of customer is not going to sustain your business in the long term. And this leads us into reason number 4 to raise your class prices. Because when you raise your class prices, you're going to attract new high-end customers. You see, price is perception. When somebody discovers you for the first time, they don't really know anything about you. And so the only thing that they really have to go on when they see what you're offering is how much you're charging. And if you're charging a really low price for something, they're going to move you into that bargain group. When you charge a really high price for something, they move you into the quality group. And I don't care where you live. No matter where you're listening to this from, there are people in your area who only purchase higher-end products or higher-priced products or from certain stores because they don't want to be perceived as cheap. They want to be perceived as people who buy quality. And so those people, they look at your low price points, they're not going to go near you because they perceive you to be the bargain, and they don't want to be perceived as bargain people. And this is something that very few stamping business owners consider when they're thinking about raising their prices. Stamping business owners, when they're thinking about that, are always focused on the customers they're going to lose. They don't focus on the customers they're going to gain. And if you can lose some more of those quantity-based customers and then take in some more of those quality-based customers, well, think about how much easier it's going to be to run your business going forward. Because not only are you going to be selling them classes, but think about how much easier it's going to be to sell them product. Think about how much easier it's going to be to sell them the higher-end product. It just makes running your business so much easier. And finally, reason number 5 why you should raise your class prices is because when you do that, it gives you the ability to crush your competition. We're all worried about competition. We're all worried that someone is going to come in and undercut us. Don't worry about that. If you're charging more, that means that you have more profits and more time than your competition. And when you have more profits and more time than your competition, it also means that you have more money and time to put into marketing and advertising. And that's how you beat the competition. Not only that, but again, because they're charging lower prices, they're marketing to a different audience anyway. And they're marketing to the same audience that the vast majority of other stamping business owners are marketing to. In other words, they're kind of fishing in a pond with lots of other fishermen, standing shoulder to shoulder, all trying to get the same fish. You're fishing over here in this other pond with very few other people fishing in it, and you practically have all of those fish all to yourself. So don't worry about what's going on in the low-end pond. You're fishing in the high-end pond anyway. You don't even really have to consider those other stamping business owners your competition. So those are our 5 reasons. To review them, number 1, more profits. Number 2, fewer customers needed to reach your goals. Number 3, customers who pay more need less. Number 4, you'll attract new high-end customers. And number 5, you will crush your competition. Remember, you can create the stamping business you want. The only thing stopping you from having that business is you. So, set your fears aside and just go for it. If you enjoyed this episode of the Stamping is My Business podcast, please feel free to like it, share it, subscribe to it, and listen to more. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, our website, stampingismybusiness.com, and on our Facebook page, facebook.com/stampingismybusiness. If you have questions or ideas for future episodes, please email them to me at john@stampingismybusiness.com. This is John San Pietro, and I'm just trying to get you paid.